The imperial powers, you know, we changed hands from the imperial power. In 1898, we became part, well, not part, but property of the United States government. For basically 1 decade or a little bit more, we were ruled by military dictatorships, like one general that were in the island was the one that decides for basically everything in the island. After that, like in the 1912, 15s, they started civil government. Basically, all the people that were in the government were imposed by the United States Congress and also the governor. It's until 1954 that we Puerto Ricans have the capacity to vote for the people that will govern us. No? But that's kind of not true, because at the end, the United States Congress is the power that has the power to do whatever with Puerto Rico. You know, the Congress make a law at that time that permits us to have a constitution and to have our local government, etc., etc. But you're gonna see what is happening right now. They revoked basically all those powers. And right now we're living in a dictatorship, a civil dictatorship with a civic junta with 7 people that the U.S. Congress imposed to us, and they basically are the ones that are ruling Puerto Rico. Even though we vote for a governor, we vote for representatives of our Congress, but basically they are the ones in power in Puerto Rico. So if the U.S. Congress tomorrow wants to sell us to China, they can do that like easily, no? Okay, so yeah, we've been a colony for basically 100 and plus years by the United States. So right now we are in an economical situation that is very, very bad. We've been in a depression since 2006, but before that we were like, our economy was like, you know, sinking. And that economical situation basically is the one that makes the U.S. Congress to act the way they act by imposing us the civil junta. Our debt is $72 billion. For you to have a notion of what that means to our economy, that is more than 100% of our GDP. So we have kind of a big debt. Basically, that debt, at least the half of this debt was created like maybe 10 years ago. Like 2 past governments, they doubled the debt. The reason is that basically that government was the most neoliberal government that has ever passed to Puerto Rican history. And the one that is governing now is also like from the same party, political party. So yeah, speaking about political parties, since 1952, we have like 3 options. One party that is pro-independence, like independence in Puerto Rico right now, like people don't want independence, you know? That is because of the repression history, like during the 50s, it was a very big nationalist movement. They were like armed and, you know, like very respected throughout the island. And basically, the majority of the people, or a little bit more than the half of the people, believe in independence in Puerto Rico at that time. But the United States plus the new colonial government want, of course, to repress that nationalist movement and idea, and to promote the colonial rule, you know. So yeah, they probably you all know the COINTELPRO, yeah, counterintelligence program that they basically use that to wipe out the Black Panther movement and the social movements, the war movement that were in the 60s. Basically, they started practicing that counterintelligence program in Puerto Rico with the nationalist movement. So yeah, they get the job done. The other party that is in Puerto Rico is the party, the colonialist party. It's called Popular Democratic Party, that is neither popular nor democratic. And the pro-statehood party, that is called New Progressive Party, that is neither new nor progressive. It's the most neoliberal party in the island. So yeah, we are in this debt, and because of this, the U.S. Congress thinks that we need, some ruling, some outside ruling, for us to have a better economy, we need to control our economy better. So they imposed this junta. The law was called Promesa, and it was imposed in June 29. I'm going to read something that Senator Bob Menendez says when they were discussing it in the Senate. Even though I don't have too much political relationship with Bob Menendez, or we're not in the same page, but he got it right when he was discussing it for what it means, the Promesa law. And I'm quoting, "It is a vote to authorize an unelected, unchecked, and all-powerful control board to determine Puerto Rico's destiny for a generation or more. It is a bill to force Puerto Rico, without their say, to go 370 million further in debt to pay for this omnipotent control board, which they don't even want. It is a vote to cut the minimum wage down to $4.25 per hour for young workers in Puerto Rico. It's a vote to make Puerto Ricans work long overtime hours without fair compensation. It's a vote to jeopardize collective bargaining agreements. It's a vote to cut worker benefits and privatize inherently government functions. It's a vote to close schools and shutter hospitals and cut senior citizens' pensions to the bone. It's a vote to put hedge funds ahead of the people. And it's a vote to sell off and commercialize natural treasures that belong to the people in Puerto Rico." And that is what is happening right now. For example, the schools system, the public school system, like 3 or 4 days ago, the government passed a law that permits for the charter school system, to start and to privatize basically all this, the public school system. Recently, the government right now is discussing a law that will put the $4.25 minimum wage, and has been, cutting a lot of workers' rights. So Bob Menendez got it right. So the process of passing a law here in the States, that of course the Congress first pass it, and then it goes to the president. So here is Mr. Obama signing the imposition of a dictatorship in Puerto Rico. For me, this is important because, there is, I believe, a lot of, romanticism about Mr. Obama. And I believe, I needed to do this. So, the reaction in Puerto Rico after the imposition of the Promesa law. So you can see the heavy repression and the gear that the police in Puerto Rico uses for the demonstrations. Also the radicalization of a lot of youth or young people, because of the political situation and economical situation. A lot of the youth don't see a future at all. Like they ask themselves, welcome. They ask themselves like, in which Puerto Rico I'm going to live, and like I don't have nothing to lose, so we need to fight, So for me, this image like represents what is happening right now, politically speaking, in Puerto Rico. Like these officers represent all the coldness and the repression and all the austerity that the neoliberal government and the dictatorship, right? The junta, the civil junta, wants to impose to Puerto Rico. And this young couple represents the future, represents the, that our movement is based on love. It's, it's based on simple things. So we don't need like these gears. We are like, with our faces out. And yeah, I don't know, like, I like that image. So, continuing with the context, what are the strategies that the left in Puerto Rico has been using? Recently in Jacobin magazine, they have an article that talks a little bit about these strategies, the different strategies. So you can check that out. So this is like at least in Puerto Rican history, like the old politics, we call it. Reacting and building, like we usually, and I was in that, strategy for a lot of years of my activism. Like if the government, for example, doesn't pass any law that was against workers' power, the students, the environment, etc., like we don't know what to do. So we were kind of reactionaries in a way. Like they pass a law that it's against the people's interest, and then we start like building a movement and picketing, etc., etc. And in that, we were trying to radicalize more the people in thoughts and actions. We were trying to gain them to our respective organizations, and that at certain point, when our organizations were at certain, were bigger enough, whatever, will permit us to change of strategy. That means like, whatever, going to the electoral arena or doing some other things that we believe that we can in order to change the status quo. The other strategy is the electoral arena. Two past elections, was born a party that is called Workers, Working Class Party. And that party got like 0.3, 0.2% of the electoral vote. It's very little. And the reason for that, I believe, it's that that party was created like in a political vacuum. Like it wasn't created in a momentum that social movements, were flooding the streets, like against the government and against austerity measures. Not at all. They just created that party that has that name, but the working class people were voting for the colonialist party or the new progressive party, the pro-statehood party. And then is the building people's power through people's projects. That is the strategy basically I'm going to talk about, that things that are going on in Puerto Rico right now. And yeah, this is what basically I am doing. The political influences of these projects, again, as I said earlier, these different projects are not necessarily controlled by a central committee or whatever, they're autonomous. But we have these common influences. One is the Zapatista movement. The Zapatista movement, as you probably know, it's an autonomous movement. They occupied, since 1994, a pretty heavy or large space in Chiapas, Mexico, in the state of Chiapas. And they basically are rescuing a land that was taken by the Mexican federal governments from the natives that lives in Chiapas. So they were like getting back the land to their own hands, and they were making, their own political system and economy based on solidarity, based on the people's needs, not the profits. So for us, they're very important influence. And one important thing for us, being a colony, like, I don't know, maybe this doesn't, well, anyways. So, like, being born and raised in a colonial system, like, I don't think, like you guys, like if you have been born and raised here in the States, because our educational system, all the things, that have made myself, let's say, like, creates how I see things in the world and how I see myself, comparing myself to you or whatever other republic of the world. Like, the political system, like, they wanted us to see ourselves like less, like if we are not sufficient to be like ruling our own destiny. So we were created with a dependency ideology and thinking. So for us, like the Zapatistas, they're also in that process of like taking for themselves the education. They are creating an anti-colonial educational system, so they can rethink how they are taught or were taught to behave, to think, how the European and Anglo or American, points of view and theories have permeated or influenced the way we see things, even though we have a great, deal of knowledge because of our ancestors and natives. So yeah, we're in that process of rethinking ourselves, how we organize ourselves, and how we see Latin America, because also that is a thing that to Puerto Rico, even though we speak Spanish and basically just a few speak English in the island, our thinking is that we are not Latin Americanos, that we are more like Americans or gringos, and yeah, that is BS. So we're looking again to Latin America to see the different movements and to build bridges, between our movement and Latin American movement. That doesn't mean that, of course, we want to build bridges with Americans here and with Europeans and with everyone, I believe, and we basically believe in internationalism, not nationalism. So another political influence, the Movimiento Sin Tierra. This is landless peasants of Brazil. This is a movement basically that occupies lands, because I believe in America and probably in the world, like the less or the wealth, it's less well distributed in Brazil than in any part of the world. So you have a lot of poor people and a very tiny, colossal rich people. And that wealth is the land. So you have a lot of landless people that depends on the land, but they don't have land. So this movement, basically, their strategy is to occupy lands. They make these encampments, and they have a law, or they have an article in the Constitution that if a land is not used for the social needs, and some people, like these people, occupy the land and prove to the state that that land wasn't used properly or for the benefit of the people, they can have the land. if they're going to make it, for those purposes. But in that process, in that bureaucratical process, they got, like all the repression they could, like these rich guys, these landlords, pay some people to kill the peasants. So yeah, in Brazil is a very heavy repression, private and public repression. Well, and also another point, for us, one of the influences of the landless movement of peasants, landless peasant movement, is the way they practice agriculture, and is with agroecology, right? This is the way to practice agriculture without GMOs, without chemicals, and with the purpose of putting the land to produce for the people, not for profits. They're not producing organic produce to sell it to the rich people and like not giving the accessibility of those produce. So for us, that's a very important perspective that we are implementing in our projects. So another important influences, the Black Panthers and the Young Lords. For both of them practices some services that we now do. For example, the Panthers started the breakfast project that is right now, like the state co-opted some years ago. So basically, thanks to the Black Panthers, young kids around the states have breakfast in the morning. Even though probably that program is endangering maybe, probably, in some states because of the neoliberal wave. Another thing is the auriculotherapy as a way to give people health, This is a millennial Chinese way of giving healthcare, and it's kind of accessible. So we have found that it is very effective to give people's healthcare to basically all of things that a human being can have in terms of illness. And yeah, actually it's very cheap. One can say it, even though the private sector not necessarily make it so accessible usually. So Hurricane Maria, product basically of the way we have been treating La Pachamama, or the Mother Earth. This is it was a Category 5 hurricane. It has been like the most dangerous and destructive hurricane that have ever passed in Puerto Rico. It shut down basically our energetic production for more than, I believe, a month. Right now, the majority of the people still are without electricity, and we're talking like 6 or almost 7 months have passed since the Hurricane Maria. So yeah, it hits very, very badly the electrical infrastructure, the homes of the people, like in the countryside. Like people have their houses made of wood and zinc, the ceilings. So yeah, they were all gone. Even though if you have a cement house, like the cement get heavy, it's a very some damages, Of course, the paint was, get out. So yeah, we are expecting like this kind of hurricanes will be more present in our lives in Puerto Rico. So after the Hurricane Maria passes, the Centro de Apoyo Mutuo born. The Centro de Apoyo Mutuo was a perspective. It wasn't implemented. Neither the name was, in our minds, but it was a perspective of a group that I work with that is called Centro para el Desarrollo Político, Educativo y Cultural. That's Center for the Political, Educational, and Cultural Development. That we have different projects that we are working on, but the main project is called Comedores Sociales de Puerto Rico. That is social kitchens of Puerto Rico. We have like community kitchens basically, but we were doing it in the university campuses. The state university of Puerto Rico, it has 11 campuses all around the island, and we practice this. We have the comedores sociales in 3 of them, but in the main campus in Rio Piedras in San Juan was the more sustainable or effective. So, as a perspective, we wanted to get out of the universities because, well, the university was kind of a comfort zone for us. We all come from the university. It was like the space where we practices our political activism mainly. So we thought that, yeah, we could like start it there, but we see it also as a way to get out at some point to the communities, and as a bridge to get some students to the community, you know, to do the same work that we were doing in the university. So for you to have a sense of like the core of the philosophy behind the Centro Apoyo Mutuo and its services, I have a quote of Eduardo Galeano. He was a very well-known historian, a poet, intellectual of Uruguay. He died a couple of years ago. So he said in an interview, and I'm quoting, "I don't believe in charity. I believe in solidarity. Charity is vertical, so it's humiliating. It goes from top to bottom. Solidarity is horizontal. It respects the other and learns from the other." So in Centro Apoyo Mutuo, we started with a community kitchen because basically Maria gave us that opportunity to start doing that work in the community because of the necessity, you know, the people have in terms of accessing food. So we started it, but we want us to distance ourselves from the charity, the usual, you know, charity that some, for example, churches that give food to the homeless, whatever. They give to them for free and without asking for the people that is receiving the service nothing back. So for us, that maintains the dependency culture, and so if we're trying to break that mental way of thinking and the activity, you know, that emanates from that mental point of view. So we want to change. So we needed to change that. So we needed to ask for people. We asked the people for something back. What we asked if they can contribute with money, like a quarter, whatever they can give us. They can contribute with giving us materials, or they can contribute working with us. You know, giving some time volunteering with us. So this is, we started the 8th day after the Hurricane Maria. At that time, no electricity at all around the island, no cell phones. So I don't know if you can imagine yourselves with cell phones for 8 days. It's like we are so used to you know, like communicate whatever with anyone. So actually it was very, very interesting the way we managed to reach for each other. So we need to go to the houses, knock doors. If the comrade or the compañera wasn't there, we need to, you know, leave the note like, I was here, let us meet, you know, at this hour, this time, you know, in this place. So that was the way that we could reach for each other and start like have our first meeting and organize the Centro Apoyo Mutuo. We do that kind of rapid, kind of fast, because yeah, the response of the state, of the government, of the local government, was on the federal government was 2 weeks or more, So we are like, we don't have like resources at all. That we only have ourselves and the energy, to build things. So yeah, we did this. This is the 10th day after Maria. This is in the pueblo de Caguas, in the city of Caguas. This is a valley very near to the metropolitan area, to the capital San Juan. It's like a 20-minute trip in car. So this is a street that cars, it's like for people to walk. This at one time, like it was a very, people used to go there and buy things. All these places were commercials, but when the malls came to Caguas, they all shut down, So right now it's like dead, but we give back life to that area. In the 7th day, ¿verdad? Before we started the Centro Apoyo Mutuo and the Popular Kitchen, we believe like we will be receiving for breakfast like maybe 50 people and for lunch maybe 100, because the only thing we did to let people know that we were starting this the next day was like at 7 p.m. probably. We put a speaker on the roof of a car of ours, and we go like for around a block, like saying tomorrow at 6 a.m. we will be serving breakfast, and at 12 we'll be serving lunch. So please come to Centro Apoyo Mutuo, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, we call it to that radio móvil, like mobile radio. That's a way for us to, let people know what is happening. Also, we do that, we use it like a news, So we are like telling people what's going on, whatever. So we did that like for just one ride, and we didn't expect, too much people. To our surprise, we received like 200 people for breakfast and like 400 people for lunch. So those of you that have worked in the restaurant industries, so if you're expecting 50 and then came 100, like, the rush in the kitchen was very, very crazy. But at the same time, it was like very refreshing, and yeah, we were very happy, that we were doing a thing that, we were actually doing the things that we believe we need to be doing, that was the necessity at that moment. So we were like in the space that we needed to be. So okay, this is a report that Yasira made like maybe in the 2nd week. They get there pretty early, and you can see a compañero here that he talks a little bit more about a perspective of the political situation, ¿verdad? Before Maria.
Like much of Puerto Rico, Caguas, south of San Juan, was suffering after years of financial austerity, the cutting of social services, education, pensions and jobs, as the territory attempted to repay its debts, much held by Wall Street bankers.
Before this crisis after the hurricane, the people that we are attending were already in the crisis. What we're seeing right now is that crisis coming out of the ground, out of their houses and being more public. But people already were starving. People already were not having medicine, or not having proper medical attention.
Yeah. So we were in a crisis already. And yeah, this is kind of the continuation of the report. You can see here like the sentiment of how people feel as the federal government basically were not doing anything for the Puerto Rican people and our necessities.
Donald Trump's contention that the Puerto Rican people are simply waiting for government handouts couldn't be further from the truth.
Donald Trump says that Puerto Ricans aren't doing enough, they just want the government to do it.
We're not doing enough, look at this. Nobody has given these people anything. Not even FEMA. ¡Que viva Puerto Rico!
Shia Bertansi, Al Jazeera, Caracas.
This is Carmen. So, who started basically the Centro de Apoyo Mutuo were a couple of activists, but in that perspective of, trying to get the Centro de Apoyo Mutuo to be of the people, of the community, and with that, asking the people to get to us and, work with us as a volunteer, we get a lot of Carmens there. So the majority of the people that works in the Centro de Apoyo Mutuo are people for the community, not the activists. So yeah, we've been successful, in doing that. And the sense of the people, they feel so empowered, and because of all the economical and social situations, because of the same economical situation, and plus the Hurricane Maria, the stress and the mental health of people. So people were very, very depressed. So a lot of people goes to the Centro Apoyo Mutuo and work, and they say to us thank you for doing this. I feel so good giving this to the people. If it weren't for you, for you guys, I've been in my house so depressed. And for you to have a sense of the mental health care crisis that we have in Puerto Rico, after Hurricane Maria, the suicide rate has doubled. And and that's the statistics that the government gave that are not very, we don't rely too much on them. We don't believe in them too much. But even though they're a very conservative, probably statistics, it's let us know how bad things are in the mental health situation. And before Maria, more of 45 or more people in Puerto Rico have mental health issues. So we're dealing here in a population that are very affected emotionally and materially. So yeah, the need for healthcare is very great. And also after Maria, the doctors are flying, are fleeing from Puerto Rico because their jobs are very difficult. They don't have too many, their salaries and their benefits in the different hospitals are not just they're not very well paid. So they're fleeing to different states in the States, and they have probably the double that they were receiving in Puerto Rico. So right now, if I want to make an appointment with a specialist in X area, probably I need to wait 6 to 8 months to receive a visit. So yeah, it's a very difficult situation, and yeah, that's why we find in the acupuncture wow, this is a thing that we need to, get. Okay, so crear 2, 3, muchos camps. Build 2, 3, a lot of camps. So at the 8th day, we started here in Caguas. This is my hometown. After that, 2 weeks, well, no, a week and a half after that, we knocked more doors of the different activists of the island, and we asked them, for us to have a meeting, because we wanted to propose them that the strategy of building a lot of camps or camps-alike projects it's the proper strategy right now for the left to build people's power. So after that, a week after that reunion, camp was born in this city called Humacao. Then another was built in Caguas, and in Rio Piedras, in Old San Juan, in Vieques, Utuado, Lares, and Camuy. So 6-7 months after the hurricane, 9-8 camps has arisen. And for us, that's like, damn, we're doing some good things here, because people are finding in the camps purpose. People are believing that the camps meet their needs, and the camps are helping the people to understand that we can't wait for the government, nor the federal government, nor the local, for them to, gives us the services that we need to make that for ourselves. So that conclusion is making them to think, so yeah, why we need a government? We need to do this for ourselves. So that's like making those people believe in independence and questioning the state at all. So that's like a shift, a political shift, like, damn. So this is the new Centro Apoyo Mutuo. This space was abandoned for 30 years, and we occupy it. That space used to be the social services building, and now the social service is given, from the people by the people, not the federal government. So yeah, that space gives us the opportunity to build more projects and work in a more healthy environment and more, a nicer place. So one of those projects that we start developing there is the auriculotherapy or health clinics. 6 of our members, of the camp members, are auriculotherapists, including myself. We are auriculotherapists because we are also part of another non-profit organization. Well, it's not a non-profit. It's actually it doesn't exist, for the state. It's something that has a name, and some people works in it, but yeah, legally speaking, it doesn't exist. It's called Salud y Acupuntura para el Pueblo. That's health and acupuncture for the people. And our master, Jose Santini, trained us, in the auriculotherapy techniques. So yeah, thanks to him and the organization, we have a lot of clinics around the island. We go to different communities and give them acupuncture to churches, schools, etc., universities. And the feedback of the people that goes, on a regular basis, it's amazing. Like people that have back pain or that has blood sugar issues, then they go the next week and, wow, I'm feeling better. I'm using less insulin or whatever, And yeah, you say, yeah, we see the qualitative differences, in people's health. Art, important for the spirit, human spirit. This guy here is a 70-something-year-old guy from Caguas. He's an artist. His name is Don Felix. And when he from the beginning was very helpful, and he was like, wow, like this is an awesome project. He's always, helping us. But when he saw us doing the health clinics, he wanted for the people to feel like they were like in the beach, like, chill. And he proposed us to make this huge graffiti or paint in the wall that recreates mural. Thank you. That represents, a beach of Puerto Rico, and and some houses too. So here's, yeah, so you can see a little bit. This is a video I took, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or more. So right now the mural must be completed probably. That is Don Felix. And also, we have another artist that comes from the United States. She's there, Oceana. She helps us make the banner of the Centro Apoyo Mutuo. She made it. She made that. And yeah, Don Felix also wants to has talked with us to make like an art space for kids, you know, in terms of talking about mental health, for them to have some recreation and to have that opportunity. Talking about again the school system that is, you know, being torn apart. Usually the sports and the arts are the classes that are thrown away. So recently, some Chicago Boricuas or Puerto Ricans, well, actually it was this past week, go to the Centro Apoyo Mutuo and give us a hand in whatever we needed, and they wanted to make a mural. So yeah, you can't see, you know, all the details and stuff, but here it says Cam, Caguas, and I believe here it says Carolina, because the other camp from Caguas is called Las Carolinas, and you know, we're very tight. You can see here the ear with the needles. Here's like a basket of food. Here's like the radio móvil, the speaker that we put in the roofs of the car. And the hands, you know, like solidarity, and flowers, you know, like the agro-ecology. So yeah, we're receiving people from all around the world, actually. But a lot of people from here, from the United States, is like more easily and economically speaking, you know, it's more affordable for people from this area to go to Puerto Rico and helps us. And yeah, that's part of the international solidarity. And the building, on the bridge building between the Puerto Rican islanders and the diaspora. We call it diaspora, right, to the people that are living in the States. The nation of Puerto Rico is composed of basically 6 million people or a little bit more. And the people that are living in the island, we are like 3.2 maybe or less. So yeah, like a lot of Puerto Ricans are here in the States. So it's important to us if we are trying to create a political movement to create those bridges, you know, and help each other in create this new Puerto Rico, or not new Puerto Rico, Borican. So we continue with the food service. So you can see here like a common day in the new camp. Thank you. So this is like the receiving. We take all the people's information, where they live, telephone number, if they have some health issues, if they have some necessities, if they have some things, you know, that their teachers or whatever, you know, so things that we can use to create more services. And of course, the necessities, let us know what are the necessities of the community. So that makes us, it's like the compass, you know, the compass. that let us know where to move. So you can see there is a lot of old folks there. Like the majority of the people in Puerto Rico are baby boomers plus, you know. So that's also something to take into account for any political movement, you know. Like which people are we trying to give services to, you know. So we also are starting to, we will be giving the service of water for the community. Like after the hurricane, that was a huge necessity because the water system was like, you know, contaminated and we needed a lot of filters and stuff. So we are preparing ourselves or the centro to be a space for the people to meet their needs, you know. We are very near to the hurricane season. So yeah, we are like trying to work things out to have you see we have the kitchen, we have food, so people will not be starving. So this is like the water system. We create a non-profit organization helps us in doing that, water catching system. And we will be receiving in the 13th of April of this month a gigantic water filter. So all the water that we catch, we can pass it through the filter, and it will have like a PBS tube with a lot of how you call this thing? That thing. So people can, you know, just fill their water gallons, and also gives us that gives us the opportunity to talk a little bit more of the problem, you know, with the use of plastic. Like in Puerto Rico, the consumption of plastic is crazy. Like Oceana is having a hard time there. Like, why you people don't, you know, recycle? And it's not like, you know, in our daily basis. It's not where our government, you know, or communities are used to. So yeah, that helps us, you know, in that conversation also. There is a garden that is behind the Centro de Apoyo Mutuo, that is from another collective. So we gave them one of those water tanks for them, you know, to irrigate their garden. Another thing is that we are going to be self-sufficient, you know, in terms of energy. We use this photo of Standing Rock because a company that gives to Standing Rock people a system, solar system panels that is basically hurricane proof. It comes in this metal, like you know, the ceiling of the trucks, you know, the cargo thing, metal thing, like exactly. Thank you. So the solar panels will be inside of it, but that container, you know, have a door, so you can just present it to the sun, and when the hurricane comes, you just, you know. So it is a very efficient and very fast way to, you know, to have it safe. And so yeah, we have a connection with a nonprofit here that is called mutual aid disaster relief that has been like very, very into the work that we are doing. We have been having, a very nice relationship, politically speaking, and we are very attuned. So yeah, they help us like raise the money to buy that system. Actually, tomorrow, someone texted me that there will be giving us like 9 solar panels for that system. So on some batteries, I believe. So yeah, soon we will be with the capacity, not just to give the camp and its services energy, but also some of the community people, around us. And for us, that is very important because right now the energy in Puerto Rico is mainly public. There has been for a couple of years some industries that are been trying, to get into the system, to privatize basically the system, and they're not being they haven't been they haven't get it, But at this point, because of Maria and the heavy damages that Maria gets to the system and the economical crisis of the government, it's very easy for the government to say, well, we don't have money to repair the system, so what's the option? You need to privatize, So yeah, they are talking, about it, and their plans are to do so. But actually, we don't care. We don't want it neither for the government to be the ones, that give the service because of their corruption and their inefficiency, and their bureaucratic, procedures, nor the private sector because of their wealth, purposes, behind giving the services. So we are like, let's do it, for ourselves. Let's build our own things. We don't need neither the government nor the private sector. So we are near there. So what are some projects that are under construction in the camp? As I was telling you, we want the camp to be, to give the people, some reliefs in the possible services they need after a hurricane, but before the hurricane. So that means that we're trying to get all the infrastructure ready so we can receive people if they don't believe they can, pass an extreme weather or hurricane like Maria in their houses. So for that we need windows, windproof windows, etc., and other beds and things. We're trying to make a community radio station too. Basically, the media in Puerto Rico, like here and almost in every country, is controlled by a few. In Puerto Rico, it's like 2 families basically, like have the 3 main newspapers, and the radio stations are like from ABC, NBC, or whatever, and the TV channels too. So if we don't have a way to, to say what we are doing by ourselves, people will not know what we are doing. So yeah, we need some volume in our voice. A community library, so talking about the situation in the schools, we need to start having some community education, some education that really transforms the people's minds and freedom, that sounded like if I'm the ones that are going to free people. Nothing like that. We believe in the popular, ¿cómo se dice esto? Educación popular, popular education from Freire. He's from Brazil. He believed that education For example, if I'm a professor and you're my student, sorry for taking you to as an example, we are gonna receive a lot, each other. I'm gonna learn a lot from you and you from me. It's like a dialectic, thing. So it's a two-way thing. It's not that I impose you all the knowledge that I have, So yeah. And a community film project. Also, we need, as also at the community radio station, but we need for the people to tell their stories, like with cell phones. Everyone has a cell phone in Puerto Rico. So we can do, some short films, and people can tell what things are happening in their community as a documentary or, as a film, short film, whatever. So yeah, we want for people to have the knowledge to do that, by their own. Also, in Puerto Rico, the food that we eat is 85% from abroad. So it's crazy. So basically all that food, it's processed, it's like in cans with a lot of salt and stuff that are not good for our health. So, and that is of course part of the colonial situation, like the government agricultural laws are created for us for us to be dependent, from external capital or companies. So we, like the people that are working with this perspective, we are like, very convinced and like working to build a lot of community gardens. And we need to take also, like the los sin tierra or the zapatista, we need to take the land back, and transform it and work it in a way that is respectful to the ecology, and that the product of those works and that produce is like available to the majority of people, So I am with some other organizations and individuals working starting to work in an agro-ecological project that is neighboring to the national rainforest called El Yunque. And there is a lot of, some of the pictures of the space. It's a 2 stories, a house. It's very beautiful. You can see the sea up there. So yeah, we've been thinking in a lot of ways for that space to be self-sufficient in terms, economically speaking. So we can, for example, work the land and give those products to the diferentes centros de apoyo mutuo and communities, And this is El Yunque, one of the, like a natural pool. Very nice. So yeah, some ways for us to trying to make that cost effective, is to make it like a bed and breakfast. But we believe like that bed and breakfast will be, like a lot of activists and progressive people from here goes to Puerto Rico. And if you want to know, like, I want a tour for this or that, we can give you that tour. And we can tell you, the people's history. Not that BS that you probably will be hearing. So that's the kind of bed and breakfast that we're thinking, like for more progressive folks that want to help us build the different projects that we're, doing. So yeah, that is an option that people will have. Native flower farming, beekeeping. I also worked with bees and other compañeras. Production, agro-ecological school. And in Puerto Rico, there are a couple of agro-ecological schools, but their perspective is more technical. They show people how to produce, like very organic things and in an ecological way. That's cool. But the political part is like they skip that, you know. It's not that they skip, but their perspective is not, you know, the one that myself and other people have. So we believe we need like a more political agroecological school. So yeah, como que we can foment and help to occupy lands. So if some people come to the school and form themselves as agroecologists, we can then look for some lands for that people to work, because that is one of the main problems. I've been in different workshops, and the people is like, wow, awesome, I learn a lot, but where I'm going to put these concepts in practice? I don't have any land, I don't have any money to buy land, or neither to rent it. So, you know, we're having a trouble there. And and there is a wave, you know, of of young people like going to the land, like independent of what they studied or what they do in life, like the north is the land. So, but the thing is that, like, we are poor people, so we need to do something about it. Yeah, give talks in schools. So, how you can help us rebuild Boriken? M&M. I said, like, after the hurricane FEMA, the packages that FEMA gave us were full of Skittles, M&Ms, and stuff. So please don't give us M&Ms. What I mean is money or materials, you know. But yeah, that was shameful, the FEMA thing. So again, for the hurricane refugee, if you people are connected in the construction area, we need like hurricane-proof windows, camping beds, emergency kits. For the radio station, radio technology, technical support, we are not, you know, very knowledgeable in the radio thing, but we are very eager, you know, to learn everything about everything. So, community library, needing computers, educational supplies, table chairs, etc. Community project film, cameras, mics, computers, film and sound editing programs, and other things that are not there. For the ecological projects, agricultural tools, trimmers, tiller, irrigation system, beds, etc., etc. So yeah, we need a lot of stuff. And okay, if you are more like, if you would like to help and you are more like you want to help in the healthcare area, so myself and 2 other acupuncturists from the camp are trying to get to a school here in Portland that is called POCA, People's Organization for Community Acupuncture. We think that it's one of the cheapest in the country, and yeah, the purpose of that is that we can first give more complete procedures to the people of Puerto Rico, because right now we are limited to do it in terms of the ear. Even our master, he's not licensed at all in acupuncture practices, even though he's very, very knowledgeable. He's been practicing acupuncture for more than a decade, or maybe 2 decades probably. So yeah, he knows a lot. But if we are like trying to think more in the future, like right now, the state, neither the private sector is telling us anything, you know? We're like under the radar right now. But when these clinics sprout more throughout the island, and the private sector sees us as a challenge to their pockets, and they, you know, call to Papa State como que to go with a stick to us. Yeah, we want to prevent that and getting some people licensed. And if we're licensed, we can also make clinics to form more people in those knowledge in the island. So yeah, we will be more, you know, like legit. Even though we don't care what the state says, but we're trying to prevent some things. So if we can prevent them, let's do it, you know. So yeah, we actually started recently, like when I was coming here, we thought like, let's do it. UCaring is a platform that you can create a fundraising. So if you enter there, you can put my name, Daniel Orsini, in the search, or Puerto Rico, or ucaring.com/PR Health Acupuncture, and you can help us, donating whatever you want or whatever you can, or spreading the word, to other people that you think would like to help us in that way. That is the information.
Do we have any flyers left?
No.
Well, people can photograph that if they like to.
Yeah, for sure. And another way you can help us is directly to the camp, to the other projects and things that we need. We have a PayPal account, and it's cdpec, cdpecpr, @gmail.com. So yeah, through the CDPEC, you can help CAM and the projects that are right now and the future projects. So again, like spreading the word is like, as important to us as giving any economical help. And for the agro-ecological project, you can contact me. This is my telephone number and my email, 787-951-6716, and my email is danielprl for Puerto Rico Libre @hotmail.com.
May I make a suggestion? Do y'all have a place to sign up for an email that you could then send these out to everybody that signed up? So
Yeah.
then it's right there.
Okay, let's start.
Yeah.
If you want to.
No, I'm just going to say thank you. And as the Panther says, power to the people, then and now. So thanks for your attention. Also, if you have something you want to say or ask, you can do so freely.
Can I interrupt? Do we want to ask for donations now for those that didn't get, because only a few people got to donate at the door, or I don't know if anyone has to leave, but or we could just.
Yeah, there is the donation
we could
thing,
pass
so
it around,
anyone,
and if
whatever it is,
possible,
yeah, when people, I believe, if they want to leave, they know that that is there, so I don't know. But for now, I believe that if anyone wants to say anything at all or ask a question about the projects, Puerto Rican history, or I don't know.
I was just wondering what other sources of water you have besides rainwater?
Yeah, right now we also have water from plumbing water. Even though, yeah, we are occupying it, but we manage our way to get, yeah. But that we don't know when the the water, agency wants to shut that out. Well, we will depend on the water cache system.
Okay, and one more question. Do you have any people sort of in transitional politics that can help you somehow get support so that when the shit hits the fan, they can somehow help you to protect everything you've built? And it's like when like you were saying that when medical field or whatever learns that you're doing medical work, well, they can close it down. And all these wonderful things you're doing.
Mhm.
Do you have any political people at all that are going to help, that are in the middle of supporting you so that you can be protected to grow rather than be... Sorry.
No. But I will ask you a question. What do you have? What do you mean about political people?
Well,
Like
because
people.
there is I mean, you do have a political system that's kind of all over the place. It seems like a lot of things. Is there somehow a way? I know it's people oriented, but somehow some people that can protect you. So some on some level. I don't know how to explain it because I'm not really sure what that might look like. I mean, I'm sure it's definitely people, but does anyone else know?
I would say we do have a group in the Bay Area that's formed and has expressed that, interest
Lawyers
explicitly to help facilitate, resources and volunteers and to act as legal assistance, right?
Yeah.
If needed.
But basically, our political support, or like if the government will try to get to the camp and shut the thing down. Right now, like we depend on the people. Like when we were in that process of moving from the old camp to the new camp, when we start opening the space and being like getting in and out, and the police like notices, they try to intimidate us and to telling us like that was not our property, that we couldn't be, that they were going to arrest us, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, at the end they didn't do anything. But at the next day, I go to the line of the people waiting for the lunch, and I express them the situation that happened the day before. And the people get so enraged. They say no. It was like very theatrical, the scene actually. But yeah, the people basically is the ones that will permit or not for the space to shut down. Yeah, we've been like trying to organize or okay, we've been trying to get closer, like to the other camps, like to build more like a unified movement. Even though I respect, like this is the basis, like respecting each other's autonomy. But yeah, we have like some basic principles all together, and the solidarity, and that response if something or the state is attempting to get in some of our spaces. Yeah, so we also have those other people, but at the end is the people around in the community where the camp is, the ones that will, because they're the ones there. Like the people from Macau or other town, they can go there one day or 2 days, but they will need to leave to their respective cities at some point. So yeah, our challenge is to make the people that receive the services so empowered, like this is mine, like no one is going to touch this, because if they touch this, they're touching us, they're touching, my grandma, my sobrinas, my son, my daughter, whatever. So yeah, that is like kind of our political challenge right now, because in terms of having some people in power that can help us, right now we don't have any left wings, in the power. There are some liberals, but we can trust those things.
Thank you.
What about the mayors, los alcaldes?
The mayors.
Yeah.
Well, the mayor of Caguas knows from the first day that we started, because they were not doing anything, and the people were like, this alcalde is like, the worst, and blah, 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 like, thank you guys, you are doing the things that the alcalde or the mayor, were supposed to do. So he's like, not, I don't know, he's disappeared. But in other camps, the alcaldes are more aware and are like sniffing that, this can be some trouble for me in the future, and are trying to get around the people of the community that is participating in the camp to like get out of the camp, and the government, the local government or the municipality will try to help them build the projects, but outside the camp. So yeah, they're trying to co-opt basically the camp, but making them by themselves. But at this point, they haven't been, able to do that. But yeah, that's that will always be a menace, for us. But at this point, we are more under the radar of the government, because the government is very used to the left-wing reactionary politics, like they pass that law, like we go to the street. So this is for them like, what these guys are doing, and yeah, so this is like, you know, not, they don't see their power, you know, like in danger because of the things that we're doing, even though we're trying to build a new country here, and they don't know that. This is for us like the new political stances or, you know, agencies for the future. And they don't know that, they don't know that, so. That one,
If someone wanted to travel to Puerto Rico to help, what kind of volunteer opportunities or where is the greatest need?
can you ask me, I believe I understand you, but
If someone wanted to come and help, to volunteer, where is the greatest need? Or what opportunities would there be for someone?
well, I believe that all over the place, like, in terms of the camps, like work is endless, you know. We are like trying to raise a country from the ruins. So yeah, everywhere that you might go, you can for sure find a lot of work. And yeah, so you have some information of myself and the camp, so you can write us or whatever, and we can, you know, tell you. And you can check from Centro de Apoyo Mutuo in Facebook, and you will see the different Centros de Apoyo Mutuo. So you can press like, and you can see what the different Centros de Apoyo Mutuo are doing. And again, if you are going to the island, you can ask, you know, what things are needed. We're thinking, for example, right now, even though the electricity for some parts are getting, you know, more, it's like communities are getting electricity, but yeah, the little solar lights are very useful, and we need those a lot, you know. And again, the hurricane temporada, the season, yeah, it's like a couple of months from now. So yeah, probably we're gonna need those for sure in a very near date.
I was just wondering how difficult it was to get food that you were serving in the comedores. Like what was that process like in terms of sourcing food to serve for hundreds of people?
Mm-hmm. Well, first we could, like at the 8th day of the hurricane, like start serving food because of the Comedores Sociales de Puerto Rico projects. You know, because we were serving to the students, we have, you know, a kind of big stock of, you know, different products, rice, beans, veggies, canned veggies, whatever. So yeah, at first we have that. Maybe after the first week, some supermarkets like start opening, even though like their stock was very, very low. I remember going to the supermarkets, and the lines were crazy. You know, like in Puerto Rico, we did lines for everything. Like to get gasoline, I made a line that I was like 6 hours in that line. Like I was like, that's crazy. In the supermarket, the same. So, and you have like a limited time. You can be there like 30 minutes. So you need to be like, you know, running around. So I go there and I said like, well, I'm not going to make this line because we were trying to find some meat for the lunch, and you know, cooking meat for 300, 400 people. When you need a couple of hours more if it's frozen. So I go like in front of the line and talk to the police and say, Mira, I need to talk to the manager. And I talked to the manager, I said, we are, you know, and I show him some photos and videos, we're doing this, the government is doing this, blah, blah, blah. And they let me in, and I asked them for donations. Even though we were not a non-profit, because the first thing they told me is that they were robots, you know, like, oh, you need to be a non-profit, you need to give me a letter. Yo, there's no electricity. Like, how can I print any letter? Even though if I were a non-profit, you know, like, cut that BS and help me, man. not help me, help the people, you know, that are starving. So they like, okay, como que hay kind of yeah. So yeah, we get to the supermarkets and give them the speech, you know, and we get some food from them too. After that, when things kind of normalize a little bit more, you know, like a lot of people, individuals, organizations, churches, like a lot of people from the diaspora in the States, like, you know, we're sending a lot of food to us. And yeah, like we have a very large stock of food right now. So yeah, at this point, it's very, yeah, we are very in a very good position of serving lots of people. Even though we have so many food that sometimes we need to give food, cook food to people. Like if they have the option to cook at their home, because if we don't do that, like the food, you know, get
Spoiled.
exactly spoiled. So yeah, we can permit that. So yeah, I believe someone. Yeah.
Have you heard like of other places in the Caribbean that maybe this is happening, like outside Puerto Rico?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that in Cuba, because Maria hits us, but before Maria passes Irma. And Irma was like, you know, almost the same category as Maria, but it hit more Cuba and other Caribbean islands. And Cuba, like, get back on its feet, like, a couple of weeks, you know, all the country with power energy, and, you know, their agricultural system is okay, etc. But yeah, other islands, suffer a lot. But I can tell you that, and this is something that I talked in the beginning of the talk. Our relationship with the other islands are very weak, you know. Even with Dominican Republic, like, we have a lot of Dominicanos in Puerto Rico. Like, it's like the most the nationality, you know, apart from Puerto Ricans, like, other people are Dominicans, you know. So even though, like, the close, you know, relationship we have with Dominicanos and Dominicanas, we are not, you know, we're not very knowledgeable what is happening in Dominican Republic, and the projects that are sprouting in Dominican Republic are not necessarily connected from the ones that we're building in Puerto Rico. So yeah, that is an assignment. We have been having Puerto Rican left for, you know, long time, and for that, yeah, my response is will not be. I can give you a response, you know, that will let you know what is going on the ground in the different islands, because I actually don't know too much about it. Yeah. It's sad for me to say that, but yeah, the reality.
So you talked about Borican as your name for Puerto Rico. How far past are the indigenous people in Puerto Rico?
Well,
are there many people who are still indigenous, like in parts of South America? I know there's a lot of tribes and groups.
Yeah. No, there is no tribe in Puerto Rico. I am an indigenous, basically. So yeah, you will not find native Taínos in Puerto Rico, you know. Like, the Taínos were mixed, you know, with the African and with the Spanish. And yeah, a lot of them get out of the island because of the repression and the slave situation, you know. So yeah, you don't have a native population, like pure native, you know, population. You don't have that in the island. Yeah.
This is a little technical in that you're not technically a nonprofit, but the State Department has the list of designated persons that you need to check when you're giving names. are giving money to organizations to make sure that this person has not been listed as a terrorist. So our, so is your, I mean, I know that y'all have been political in the past, but has there ever been like violence? Have y'all ever been labeled a terrorist or, I mean.
Yeah. No, that's a very important question for you guys.
Because if you're going to give in a way that you're visible and traceable, then you have to be careful about that.
Actually, the CDP, we have been trying to make our organization a non-profit. First in the island, and second with the
501c3.
Exactly, that thing. That will make us, the life more easily, and we can, of course, have more, more people can, help us better. But it's been kind of difficult for us. I don't know the reasons, but recently the local government sent us a letter that says that we were no longer a non-profit in the island. The reasons were very vaguely, but that happens to a lot of other non-profits, and we were thinking that because the government is trying to, find money anywhere, and because of after Maria, a lot of people, give money to a lot of non-profits.
Right.
The government wants to, catch some money of the tax thing.
Right.
So if we are non-profits, they don't have that money. But if we are not a non-profit, they will have a share of that. So we believe that that could be a reason, not necessarily that they saw us as a political threat or something. And as far as I know, neither myself nor other compañera, nor the organizations that I've worked with have been labeled as a terrorist organization. I really don't think organizations in Puerto Rico, maybe it is all nationalist organizations like the macheteros that are not necessarily a political movement right now in Puerto Rico. They've been labeled like that maybe on some other nationalist movement from the past. But I believe, from the 60s on or 70s on, none of us or our organizations have been labeled like that. Even though, that label could be put to exactly. But it's an important question. Anyone else want to know anything? Share anything?
Just thank you for your work. I mean, it's really brilliant. And we're coming into a time when there's going to be more and more devastation all around the world, and having this as a model, because there are going to be a lot of communities that are going to need it. Encourage you to, I know you're very busy and you've always got new fronts to work on, but having somehow community survival kit in a box, here are the things you need to do, and kind of a basic outline for when our number 9 earthquake hits here, and there's nobody able to bring relief supplies in because they didn't stabilize the runways at the Portland International. So, there's going to be a lot of communities that are going to be in Puerto Rico's condition.
Well, no one has anything to say. Thank you a lot again for your time.